As a disclaimer, I didn't, I don't intend for the thumbnail to be clickbait. I just thought it was cool. This is not a update to show you the new engine that came in. The melted short block and the empty case halves are what's in the crate. You'll find that out later in the video, but I just wanted to put this disclaimer out. Not a new engine, stuff that is going out. All right. Welcome back, y'all. What a wild freaking trip trying to make this video has been. I went to go stitch together the two videos that I had recorded, only to find out that the video that I recorded a couple days ago, as well as the video that I recorded just a bit ago, um, they couldn't hold the audio, and I did it a couple more times, but ended up doing some research. I thought it was my mics, all that stuff. I thought they were dead. Charged them. Long story short, ended up finding out that the SD card, that I had in this camera was not up to the task of the getting the audio for the from the external mics that I now have. It recorded the first time fairly reliably, but for some reason the last couple of videos, and excuse the noise if you can hear it outside, actually it's late at night, you wouldn't know that because I'm closing the garage, but the old SD card did not have the writing speed necessary for this new upgraded audio, so I had to go out and buy some uh, some SD cards or an SD card, about two of the same, and just did a test video. Worked, so here we are doing this one. So anyway, because I lost all that content, which I was going to show you the stages of what I went through, but ultimately I'll try to run through this as quickly as I can. Um, so originally I was going to send the case halves, the bare case halves, the empty ones, the case halves with the rotating assembly in them that I of the short block that I burnt down, or not burnt down. That sounds really bad, but that I had melted a hole in, and then the heads were all going to go off a couple hundred miles north and be rebuilt at a shop there. Well, that ended up I got ghosted, and so that fell through, and so I had to hit the research again, and I ended up finding through talking and whatnot. Never had forgotten them; they were just always on the back of my mind, not really at the front and center. But ended up finding or getting in touch with Outfront Motorsports. So um, they said they could meet the goals that I'm trying to do, which is take the rotating assembly out of the engine that I melted or overheated for like real terms. So the block that I overheated, which happened because there was a spark or a detonation issue, is we're presuming. I mean myself and IAG, after they looked at it, we're assuming there was a detonation issue that melted the block due with the high heat, melted a hole, and as you saw in previous video, if you watched it, um, melted a hole into the head, which allowed exhaust gases to get into the cooling system, which turned it into a heating system. So anyway, I had everything boxed up. I had the heads in this box, and then there's two boxes in the back right there that you can see, the heavy duty large ones. And I had the empty case halves in one of the large boxes, and then I had the case or the short block in another. And those were all wrapped up or boxed up, patted down, and then I also plastic wrapped everything so that it was kind of a tight thing, and it was all on this pallet. And I'll share a photo of that really quick. But when that fell through, and uh, now the plan has adjusted to the short blocks or short block and case halves are going to California and the heads are going to Florida. I changed my plan. And here is the end result. So everything was on that pallet, and I could have kept the short blocks on that and sent it off to California, but I didn't want there to be a chance of anything happening. So what I did was put everything in this box. I have the short block, I believe, on that side, and the empty case halves on this side. I kind of moved it so I forget exactly where what all is where. But either way, it's all in there and ready to be shipped off to California. I did it in this way so that it's a lot more secure. Like the case halves and block are braced down to where there's absolutely no movement in them whatsoever. I could tilt this thing upside down and there would be nothing wrong with the engines whatsoever. They wouldn't move. You wouldn't hear anything. And I'll show some pictures of the development of me building out this crate. There's also no way anybody can confuse it, the top to the bottom, because you got the holes there for forks of it on the forklift if they want to lift it up like that. Now I understand this is gonna weigh quite a bit, but I did it for the fact that it's not easily tossed around. So there's some sort of care that has to be taken because it is so heavy. Now, with the heads, I got them back with one of the heads being completely disassembled, and yeah, I think actually both of the heads were actually disassembled in the fact that none of the springs were in the heads, and all the valves were out as well. So I had to put all that back in, and this led me to rediscovering Company 23 again, because I've already used their cam bolt uh, or their cam sprocket tools to hold the cam sprockets from spinning so that the cam bolts can be undone. So I went back to them to see what they had, and the bigger problem I had was I was going to ship these the way they were, bare, and the springs and retainers and seats and valves all in a box, kind of like bouncing around. But I didn't like that idea, and I was also going to put them into a smaller box with with padding inside of it to keep them from moving. Ultimately, found out, or not found out, but thought that was a bad idea too. And I had known about the spring compressor tool, so I ended up, looking back at it, and I was like, you know what? Let's try this, just for the simplicity of being able to ship the heads completely assembled and nothing's bouncing around, and the valves aren't getting unnecessary damage, the springs aren't getting unnecessarily damaged, none of the retainers or the seats are getting bent or anything, and the cams are also secure inside the head. So I ended up buying it, and here is that kit. So you got the part that bolts down onto the head through these two holes where um, the cam caps would go, and you got this stud that can be tightened with I forget what size Allen wrench it is, Allen wrench, but I used a an Allen socket anyway with a ratchet, and pushes that this bottom end pushes down on the top of this, which pushes the spring down, which allows you to take out the retainers or put the retainers in. Super helpful. It just does require a little bit of finesse because you got to center the spring as well as you can inside of here, so that there's equal spacing around all of the valve stem, so that you can get the retainers in there. So it also comes with this piece right here, which is magnetic on this side, and then there's the flathead portion on this side. So super helpful with the magnetic end when pulling the retainers, not so much when putting the retainers back in. And I say that because everything in the kit, well, the cap here, which you have to slide the keepers through, is as you could tell, magnetic. So it got really tricky when trying to put the retain or the keepers in. So what I did, and everybody knows, so can't judge me. But in men's grooming kits, which I had two of them, men's grooming kits have tweezers. So grabbed a pair just to test out, and what do you know? They're not magnetic, so they don't get attracted to this and stick to it and whatnot. So I was able to pinch the keepers in between the tongs and put those into place. And that allowed me to get the keepers in place and, therefore get the valves put in and stayed in and properly install the buckets and the cams and get everything secured as it needs to be. So now, as you can see, the heads are completely assembled. So those will be boxed up into this, and then with the 2x4s that I have here and the wood board that I have here, I'll be building a frame around that box just to make it a little bit more secure. And we'll send that off to Florida, and we'll be sending this off to California, like I said before. I also took out the injectors because those need to be cleaned. They've been sitting around since I believe October, so they are, if if anything, they're definitely clogged. So they definitely need to be cleaned. Now the unfortunate part is I found out that Injector Dynamics no longer offers their 2000 cc injectors, and so hopefully they can be cleaned. If they cannot, it's not that I don't like Injector Dynamics because the injectors worked flawlessly for 7 years, which 6 years, because can't count 2025. I haven't driven the car. So they worked great for 6 years, but kind of want to try fuel injector clinic, and that's because injector dynamics they go from 1700 cc to 2600 cc, and that's a huge jump. I'm not an expert or anything like that on the technicalities of it. I just don't know whether there will be a problem daily driving or just putting this thing around on the streets if I want to do that on ID or on 2600 cc injectors. Fuel injector clinic, on the other hand, has a middle ground which is 2150 cc. So I put those in the car and I'd have plenty of headroom. I don't want to run the 1700s and then later on, or even if I just want to put on a goofy tune to have fun on the streets, I don't want 1700 to be a blockade for me going any further. So 2000 cc is like the perfect middle of the road. I would never use 2600, so that'd be kind of like a waste. But when it comes to the car, I'm also not, when I set it up for the race or for the track, at max 500 to the wheels. 450 to 500 is the goal that I'm shooting for right now, which I shouldn't have any issue hitting whatsoever. And then, like I said, something goofy for the street if I decide to go that route. And last but not least, the turbo. So it's definitely due for service. It needs to go in for a rebuild or a replacement. Um, I'm going to run it for the rest of this year. And that's only because I don't know how much track time I'm going to have. I don't imagine it's going to be much. So I think I'll be fine. And then send it in over the winter or replace it. And we'll see. I don't know. There's also a whole other generation of turbos that have come out since I bought mine, which for all these parts, I haven't even looked at the market of parts in forever. So I'm getting reacquainted with all of it. And excuse me, I don't know why I'm uh, hiccuping and whatnot, but I haven't looked at any parts. So going through all this is a lot of research, and it's kind of interesting to see what's going on. And the turbo that I have now is a Gen 2 6266 with the 82 back housing. So mine is rated for 800 horsepower, and the next gen, the newer gen turbo of the same spec, is rated for 925 if I'm not mistaken. Now I don't think I'll ever be making 925 on this car, but it might be good for spool time. I don't know. That's one of the reasons why I didn't go with a 64 66 was because I don't want any response issues, even if it is just that much smaller or just a small little increase in size of the inducer wheel. So there you have it, y'all. Engines are going to be going off to uh, California. Heads are going to Florida. Injectors I should have back within the next week or so from cleaning, and then the turbo I'll just stick with that, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, stay driven.